Eric and Sally are planning to retire next year when they turn 62. And they've heard that the average life expectancy is somewhere around 78 years old, so they want to start taking Social Security right away. But their financial advisor told them to wait until 70 to apply, because they're likely to live into their 90s. So who do you think is right? When do you think Eric and Sally should apply for Social Security? In order to answer that, I'm going to run 6 Monte Carlo simulations for Eric and Sally. The first 3 will look at if they live an average life expectancy and start taking Social Security at 62, 67, and 70. The next 3 will assume they live into their 90s. But before I run the numbers, let me tell you why I plan for my clients to live into their 90s. The obvious reason is I want you to have a comfortable retirement no matter how long you live, and hopefully there will be wealth left over to pass on to your kids and grandkids. But the not so obvious reason is how life expectancy is calculated. According to the Social Security Administration, a baby born in 2019 will, on average, live to be about 76 for boys and 81 for girls. Now, that's guessing 70 to 80 years into the future. But as we age, the likelihood that we live beyond the average life expectancy keeps going up. For example, an American who is already 65 will live to, on average, age 83 for men and age 85 for women. If an American makes it to their 83rd birthday, they will live, on average, to age 89 for men and age 91 for women. So if I'm talking with a couple who's already 60 years old, and I put together a retirement plan that runs out of money when they're 78, I might be shortchanging their retirement by 10 to 15 years. In financial planning, a long life is the most difficult scenario to plan for. This is known as longevity risk. Now, it seems funny to talk about living a long life as a risk, but it could potentially deplete your retirement savings. So even though you may not believe that you'll make it into your 90s, there's still a chance that you will, and I need to help my clients plan for that. Okay, with that out of the way, let's start with our assumptions. Eric and Sally have done a great job saving for retirement, and they've got around $1.2 million that they can use. For simplicity, I'll assume inflation will be 3% over the next few decades, and the expected portfolio returns are 7%. I'm also assuming that Eric and Sally will be spending $5,000 per month, which is reasonable since I'm also assuming that their mortgage is paid off. For income, I'll assume that they both currently make $90,000 per year. With that assumption, the online Social Security calculator gives us a benefit of $2,304 at full retirement age for each of them, so about $4,600 per month in total. And with those assumptions, let's see what happens when Eric and Sally apply for Social Security at their full retirement age of 67. If we assume that Eric and Sally live to an average life expectancy of ages 76 and 81 respectively, their Monte Carlo graph looks something like this. Do you see how the dark blue cone doesn't reach 0? Well, that's great news, and their chances of retirement success are 92%. If they live into their 90s, their success rate drops to 77%, which of course makes total sense. The longer that they live, the more likely that Eric and Sally will run out of money. And when I run these simulations for my clients, I like to see them in the 70 to 90% range, so both of these outcomes are okay with me. But what if Eric and Sally apply earlier at age 62? Unfortunately, when you start taking Social Security before your full retirement age, you get less money every month. For Eric and Sally, their monthly benefit drops to $1,613 each, or about $3,200 a month in total. By starting 5 years earlier, they're losing $1,400 a month for the rest of their lives. So why that big of a drop? Well, it's the government being the government, and there's a complicated formula that I've covered in a prior video. When I run the Monte Carlo simulations, the results come out again at 92% for an average life expectancy. Which makes sense because Eric and Sally saved up a good amount of money and Social Security helps get them to about 80 years old. But when I rerun the numbers for them living into their 90s, this is the result. Do you see how the dark blue cone here touches 0? And see how the light blue part hits 0 around 80 years old? Well, that's not great, and their probability of success drops to 65%. And this is the reason I pay close attention to the age and health of my clients. If they're 60, they exercise every day and aren't on any medications, I may advise them to play the long game and take Social Security later, which can be very beneficial because when you delay your Social Security benefits, you increase the amount that you get. For Eric and Sally, their monthly benefits would increase to $2,857 each, or about $5,600 per month combined. So waiting 3 years gives them a $1,000 per month raise for the rest of their lives. If we assume that they live to their average life expectancies, their probability of retirement success comes in again at 92%. Okay, so this is interesting. Why is their success rate at 92% no matter when they apply for Social Security? Well, they already have $1.2 million saved up by age 62. And if they only live to be 76 and 81 years old respectively, Social Security doesn't seem to make a huge difference. But if they live into their 90s and they wait to get Social Security at age 70, their success rate jumps to 86%. So what should they do? If Eric and Sally were my clients and they seem to be relatively healthy, I would probably advise them to wait until at least age 67 to apply for Social Security. It looks like the safest bet as of right now, and we could reevaluate later. But of course, stuff happens. So if they need their benefits, we might change our minds and apply sooner. And what happens if Social Security goes bankrupt? For a deeper dive into Social Security, click here for a playlist, including a video on when Social Security might run out and how to plan for it. I'll see you there.